but I do know she's from Ottawa, Canada. Please, warm welcome for Barbara Kay.
The best picture I've taken in this decade of my life was just a few days ago by the ship's photographer. No circles, no bags, no wrinkles, no bloodshot eyes, and only one double chin. I just can't stop looking at myself. When I get home, I'm visiting a plastic surgeon. See this? Right here. My friend Peggy's husband passed away. His name was Paul. They're at the church. The funeral's over. The pallbearers pick up the casket. They walk solemnly down the aisle. One of them trips. The casket hits the door. They hear a groan. They open it up. Paul's alive! Hallelujah! They take him home rejoicing. 2 years later, Paul dies. Back in church. Funeral's over. Pallbearers pick up the casket. They're walking down the aisle very solemnly. They hear a voice from the back. Watch that door, will ya? Thank you. My name is Barbara, and my husband does not want to be identified.
Good job, Barbara!
She could have told me that before. I didn't have to. Wasn't that great? One more time for Barbara, please. All right, just 72 more to go, people. You're hanging in there great. Our next comedian, very funny lady from Ohio. Warm welcome for Linda Sulo.
I'm glad to be on this cruise. I've seen so many lovers on this ship. I remember when I was young and we first got married. My husband Mike. We were so much in love. So I just couldn't eat him up. Now I wished I had. Yeah. We just turned 60 and been married 40 years, and that's 2/3 of our life together. Yeah. Yeah. So we decided to go on separate vacations. Yes. I went to Hawaii, and he went to Las Vegas. And after about a week, he called me, and he said, Linda, I'm having a great time here. I met us a young divorcee, about 30 years old, and we have been having a great time, gone to the Bellagio and Caesars and MGM Grand. We're just painting this town red. And I says, oh, well, I too met a young man, a nice surfer. We've been on the beach and watching sunsets, and he's about 30 years old too, and we're just, I bet I'm having a better time than you are. And he says, how do you figure that? I said, simple mathematics, dear. 30 goes into 60 more than 60 goes into 30. Thank you. Keep laughing. My name's Linda Sewell.
was never worried about her, but yesterday she was shaking, physically shaking about this. She said, you love comedy? You always want to know what it was like? And she just came up here and killed. So I just wanted y'all to know that. She did it. Way to go.
Off my bucket list.
Off her bucket list. She can die now. As soon as she lays a surfer. Our next comedian comes to us from Indiana. Warm welcome for Wendy Francis.
When my grandson Evan was in the 2nd grade, he was fascinated with bodily functions. Now, he came to stay at our house after school one night and he said, Grandma, you will never believe what book our teacher is reading to us. It's called The Diarrhea Worm. I said, Evan, there is no way your teacher is reading The Diarrhea Worm to you. He was adamant, insisted, yes, it was. So I just let the matter drop. The next day after school, he came to see me and brought me a note that read from the teacher, I have no idea why I am writing this note, but Evan insisted that I write down the name of the book I'm reading to the class. The book is called The Diary of a Worm. Now, my husband, Mike, is a minister. And one Saturday night, Evan came over to spend the night with us and go to church with us on Sunday. He walked in Sunday school Sunday morning and he says, do you know my grandpa owns hell? The kids looked at him and laughed and said, your grandpa does not own hell. He said, yes, he does. I heard him tell Grandma last night when he got home from the church board meeting that the deacons gave it to him. Now, one Sunday, my husband got really involved with his sermon. And he committed what for some congregations would be the unpardonable sin. He went 30 minutes overtime. On the way out, as the members were filing out of the church, George came by and shook his hand, and he said, Preacher, has anyone ever told you that they could sit and listen to you for hours? My husband thought. He said, you know, George, I don't think anyone has ever told me that before. And George looked at him and said, well, then why did you think we could? And he added, you know, the Colts kicked off 15 minutes ago. Rather than put my mother-in-law in a nursing home, she came to live with us during her final days, and we cared for her. Shortly after her passing, I was talking to Evan, and I said, Evan, now, when I get sick and I need you to care for me, you won't put Grandma in a nursing home, will you? You'll let me come and live with you, right? In all seriousness, he looked at me and said, Grandma, I would never put you in a nursing home. But my mom and dad would. Now, I want to leave you with my grandson's favorite joke. and I believe it ranks a little higher than Noonan's cow joke. Are you ready? What did the hot dog say when it crossed the finish line? I'm a wiener! I'm a wiener! Thank you. My name is Winnie, and I'm from Indiana.
Keep it going for Wiener. I mean, Winnie. Now, I want to say this. We only got a couple of people left. Y'all been doing great. Keep hanging in there. And I'm particularly proud of these people because they could come up here and say whatever they wanted to. We pushed them to work clean. It's so much harder to work clean. Haven't they been great? Yeah. They have been offensive. They're funny. I'm so proud of them. But I did leave one thing out, and I had to say this before the next comedian because we forgot to tell them how to dress. From Dallas, give it up for Clayton Jackson. This is not my fault.
Thank you. This is the most I've worn to perform in a long time. One of my hobbies is Renaissance festivals. I play 3 different characters. I play a pirate. He doesn't wear a shirt. I play a barbarian. He doesn't wear a shirt. I play a minotaur. For those of you that don't know, a minotaur is half man, half bull, and always horny. Anyway, I was playing my minotaur character at this Renaissance festival a couple of months ago, and I had this foam sword. It was a long sword. And 2 little kids came up, wanted to fight me. I gave them 2 little foam short swords. So we're fighting each other. We had someone come by who was playing Jack Sparrow. Looks at the situation and goes, you know, you're using a long sword, they're using short swords. That doesn't sound completely fair. This coming from a pirate. Pirates don't play fair. Now, my actual job is a truck driver. And one of the things that happens is I go through toll booths. You get cars in front of you, and they take forever to get through the toll booth. I know exactly why. This is what they're doing. They get to the booth, they see how much they need to pay. Okay, there's a dime. There's another dime. That's 20 cents. There's a nickel. That's 25 cents, I think. Let me recount that. This goes on for about 5 minutes. Then you got the person behind them that pays more than what they owe, so they get the change back. That's 10. That's 20. 25. And you're driving a commercial truck with a trailer. You can't easily switch to another lane. I have finished with this. I've heard of several very amusing city names. There's Intercourse, Pennsylvania. There's Climax, Michigan. These are real city names. I have passed through a city called Hell, Michigan. It's about 20 or so miles out of Detroit. I want a picture of the Welcome to Hell sign covered with snow and ice. So when I ask someone for a date and they say, when hell freezes over, I show them the picture. There you go, let's go on a date. People have told me when I'm wearing a shirt, they know it's cold. I'm gonna go put on a shirt now. Thank you very much.
Miss Congeniality, ladies and gentlemen. And now, from Arkansas, big welcome for Connie Eggleston. Excuse me.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you about my aunt. She has 3 sons, Milton, James, and Edward. Now, she was having her 90th birthday, so the sons, who had grown up and were very successful men, decided that they would give her very nice gifts. So Milton, her oldest son, had a 10,000 plus square foot home built for her. It was fantastic. James bought her a top of the line BMW and parked it in the garage of that new house. Now Edward, knowing that his mother liked to read the Bible but her eyes were getting bad, bought her a parrot that could quote the Bible, book, chapter, and verse. Whatever she told him, the parrot would just start quoting. And he had to pay, he told his brothers, $50,000 for this parrot. And he had to agree to pay $50,000 each year for 5 years to the training place that trained this parrot. So this was the background, and they had the party for their mama. And Milton said, "Mama, I've got a big surprise for you. We're going to take you to your new home. I had it built for you." So they took her over to this huge house, and she looked at it and said, "It's very nice, thank you." Then James said, "Come on out to the garage, Mama. I have something for you too." So here's this shiny, beautiful BMW. And she looked at it and said, "Thank you, James. It's very nice." And then Edward said, "Come on back in the house, Mama. Mine's in there." So they walked in the house, and there was this huge thing covered with a sheet. So he flipped the sheet off of the cage and said, "This is a bird for you, Mom. This is a parrot." And she doesn't hear very well, so she wasn't sure what he said, but she said, "Thank you, Edward." And then about a week later, they got their thank you notes in the mail. Milton said, "Dear Milton, thank you for the big home. But you know, I only live in 2 rooms of it, and I have to clean the whole thing. But thank you for the thought." And to James, she wrote, "Dear James, the car is very pretty. Thank you for the thought, but you know, I don't see well and I don't hear well, so I can't drive it." To Edward, she wrote, "Dear Edward, thank you for your thoughtful gift. It was the one I could use. The chicken was delicious." When my husband and I were married, we moved to a small town. Well, we had 3 children by this time. We moved to a small town. As we were unpacking boxes, our boys wanted to walk around the neighborhood to see if there were any other kids. So we said, "Fine, go ahead, but don't go too far." So they came back, and we said, "Did you meet anyone in the neighborhood?" And they said, the 3-year-old Tom said, "Yeah, we met a boy just up the street. His name's Mike Screws." We said, "Okay." And the next morning, we had a knock on our door, and a lady was standing there with a plate of cookies to welcome us to the town. And we took the cookies, and she said, I'm Mike's mom. My name is Ellen Bolt." My mouth is getting very dry. My husband and I travel a lot, and we were eating breakfast in a truck stop cafe one morning, and in rolled a semi-trailer with a driver who came in and ordered his breakfast. He was eating, and in drove 6 motorcycles. And these guys swaggered in their leathers and their bandanas, and they started picking on this truck driver. One stirred his coffee with his finger. One grabbed his fork and took a bite of his eggs. Another took a bite of his toast. One of them gave him a shove on the shoulder, and he didn't do a thing. He took it all very calmly, got up, walked over, paid his bill, went out to his truck. And those motorcycle drivers said, "Man, he isn't much of a man. He didn't even stand up for himself." And the waitress said, He's not much of a truck driver either. He just ran over 6 motorcycles in the parking lot. I want to tell you about my mama. She's 90, and she went to church one Sunday, and the minister forgot his notes for the sermon. So the song leader said, well, we'll just have a sing-along. Anyone can shout out a word, and we'll sing a hymn with that word in it. So somebody said love, and they sang Jesus Loves Me. Somebody said grace, and they sang Amazing Grace. That went on for about 15 minutes, singing lots of different hymns and things. And then there was kind of a lull. And from a group of teenagers, someone yelled out, sex. And it got very, very quiet. In the back of the room, my 90-year-old mama started singing, precious memories, how they linger. I'm Connie from Arkansas. Thank you.
Good job, Connie.
Connie right there. Now this next guy, all I'll say is at least he wore a shirt. From Colorado, Mike Burgess.
Hey, I sure appreciate all the help the comics have given us today. Give them a big hand, okay? One of the comments that Larry Omaha asked is that he says, you know, you probably ought to drink. I said, oh. Maybe a lot. I said, oh, okay, I got that one, okay. So then I got to talking to Mark, and Mark said, hey, you probably ought to talk about something that you kind of know about. So I got to thinking a little bit,